In the kingdom of Mabel lived a very busy king named King Barden, and daily tasks kept piling up heavily on him constantly. The paperwork for the annual goat tax needed urgent completion, while the servants were also waiting for his decisions regarding the royal kitchen. One servant came asking about choosing the bird for dinner between two strange dishes, while another message spoke about his aunt's constant visit. King Barden felt extremely exhausted, so he sighed deeply and said he could no longer bear this repetitive daily burden at all. Suddenly, the king announced his decision to retire in front of everyone, which surprised those present and raised questions about who would take over all his responsibilities. The servants anxiously wondered who would manage taxes, food, and palace guests, but the king confirmed that he would not be doing it anymore. The king had an alternative plan, as he had twin children who could take over the rule after him, and they were ready to experience royal responsibility. He ordered his children to be brought to the palace immediately, announcing that the time had come for them to take on the duties of the throne and prepare for their future. At that moment, Prince Ryan was sleeping deeply in his room, making loud snoring sounds that filled the space around him. Princess Liana woke up annoyed by the noise and scolded her brother for his laziness and loud voice that prevented her from fully concentrating. Ryan replied sarcastically, saying her voice was even more annoying, which led to the beginning of a sharp argument between the siblings in the room. Liana threatened to tell their father what he said, so Ryan begged her not to, fearing a strict punishment that might be imposed on him again. He reminded her of the previous punishment when the king forced him to clean the hall with a small brush, without allowing him to use magic at all. Liana mocked him, confirming that he was so lazy that he probably did not even carry out the punishment himself, but made someone else do it. Ryan admitted, laughing, that he used magic to force one of the maids to do the task instead of him, without any feeling of guilt. Liana told him that he was not qualified to rule, and that their father would laugh at him if he tried to take the throne because of his obvious laziness. Ryan responded by accusing her of excessive perfectionism, pointing out that she cares about the smallest details to the point of ruining the enjoyment of simple things. He mocked her, saying that even a slight tilt of a fork bothers her, making her overreact to trivial matters. She tried to defend herself, but the argument grew more intense, as each of them continued criticizing the other directly and harshly. Suddenly, a servant entered and informed them that their father was requesting their immediate presence in the throne room for a very important matter. The two felt surprised and exchanged looks before quickly heading toward the hall to find out the reason for this sudden summons. Upon their arrival, they bowed respectfully before the king, each trying to show the best behavior possible in front of their father, sitting with dignity. The king asked them to stop exaggerating in their greeting, then directly told them that he had decided to retire from his position as ruler of the kingdom. Both immediately expressed their readiness to take over the rule, but the king explained that he would not choose either of them without proving worth first. He announced the organization of an official magical competition to determine who deserved the throne, where they would undergo a real test of their abilities and skills. Liana felt worried because she knew Ryan's magic was stronger than hers, which made her realize the need for intense practice. Meanwhile, Ryan believed the matter required no effort, thinking that his natural magical strength would be enough to win easily. After the discussion ended, the two left the hall, each carrying different thoughts about how to prepare for the upcoming competition. Ryan gave his sister something mockingly as consolation, which annoyed her, and she considered his behavior nothing more than empty showing off. Ryan boasted about the strength of his magic, while Liana confirmed that she could achieve the same results if she put in enough effort. He asked her to prove it practically, but she failed to perform a simple spell, giving him additional proof of his superiority. He mocked her again, confirming that he would easily win the competition, then left to take a nap without any interest in training. In contrast, Liana turned to studying and began reading advanced magic books with intense focus and clear determination. Later, she found him using magic on lizards to read books instead of him trying to escape direct studying. She was surprised by his behavior, pointing out that he did not understand the language of lizards, but he claimed that he might be able to. She confirmed that she knew him well and that he did not possess that ability. but he ignored her and continued his unserious way of learning. She tried to convince him to be serious, but he insisted on his laziness, which made her angry at his irresponsible behavior toward his future. She told him that he would be surprised when she defeated him in the competition, but he did not take her words seriously at all. They exchanged insults once again, each questioning the other's worthiness for the throne, before the argument ended with clear tension. The evening began, and everyone gathered in the palace in preparation for the start of the magical competition that would determine the fate of the kingdom's rule. The evening event began as people gathered in the palace to watch the magical competition that would determine the new ruler of the kingdom of Mabel. King Barden stood before the audience, welcoming everyone and announcing that the winner of this night would become the king or queen of the kingdom. The crowd cheered enthusiastically, while Ryan and Liana stood in the middle of the hall, each preparing to prove their worth before everyone. The king asked if they had prepared well. Liana answered confidently, while Ryan responded in a careless manner without clear interest. The king explained the rules of the competition, stating that it would consist of a round of questions followed by a round of challenges to test practical magic skills. He added that in case of a tie, they would proceed to a third decisive round to determine the final winner without any doubt. Everyone agreed to the rules, and the first round began amid the excitement of the audience, who were eager to see the magical abilities of the two royals. The king asked the first question about the type of magic usually associated with the famous wizard Merlin in old stories and legends. Liana answered quickly and confidently, mentioning prophecy and shape-shifting magic, which impressed the audience and earned loud applause. The king confirmed the answer was correct, while Ryan looked annoyed because he did not participate despite the question being simple for him. Ryan mocked, saying the question was very easy, so Liana replied by asking why he did not answer if that was truly the case. He ignored her comment, and the king began asking the second question about the use of thistle in one of the well-known common spells. Liana answered again quickly, explaining that it is used in protection spells, confirming her superiority in this knowledge round. The king confirmed the second answer was correct, and the audience began to realize that Liana was well prepared compared to her completely lazy brother. The king moved to the final question, asking about the factors that must be considered when lifting an object over water using magic. Liana thought quickly, then answered that weight and buoyancy are important factors that must be considered to ensure the spell's success. The king confirmed the third answer was correct, announcing the end of the first round, with a clear victory for Princess Liana before everyone. Excitement increased as the king announced the start of the second round, which would be a direct confrontation between the two using practical magic skills. He explained that the goal was to disable the opponent from using magic without causing any physical harm to ensure their safety. They exchanged looks, with Liana showing great seriousness, while some tension appeared on Ryan despite his attempt to hide it. The king gave the signal to begin, and the confrontation started as Ryan used a powerful spell to try to take control quickly. Liana responded quickly, using the skill she gained from intense training, which enabled her to successfully block the first attack. The confrontation continued as they exchanged spells, but Liana was more focused and precise in executing her magical movements consistently. Ryan tried to rely on his natural strength, but he was not organized, which caused him to make clear mistakes during the confrontation. Liana took advantage of that and used a precise spell to temporarily disable him, preventing him from continuing to use magic during the fight. Ryan eventually fell, unable to continue, while the audience stood cheering loudly and enthusiastically, declaring Liana the winner. The king announced the end of the second round, confirming that the result was clear and there was no need for a third decisive round. The king stepped toward Liana, smiling with pride, and declared her the official winner of the competition and the new ruler of the kingdom of Mabel. Liana felt great happiness, confirming that her hard work and continuous training were the real reason behind this well-deserved success. Ryan looked at the result silently, while feelings of regret gradually began to appear after realizing the consequences of his continuous laziness. He tried to defend himself, claiming that he had worked, But Liana reminded him of his behavior during the week and his lack of responsibility. She explained that he neither studied nor practiced, but relied on tricks and laziness, which led to his clear loss in front of everyone. Ryan began to understand the situation and admitted that he should have put in more effort instead of relying only on his natural abilities. Even so, he pointed out that he still possessed strong magical power, but that was not enough to win without real effort. The king confirmed that power alone is not enough, and that discipline and hard work are what determine the true ruler of the kingdom. Ryan lowered his head, realizing that he had wronged himself and his future, and that he had lost a real opportunity because of his constant laziness. The king asked him to think seriously about his actions and to admit his mistakes so he could move forward in a better way. Ryan began to gather his courage, preparing to confess the truth before everyone, despite feeling ashamed of his previous actions. He looked at his sister and the king, realizing that the moment required honesty and that he must face the truth no matter how difficult it was. He took a deep breath and began to speak, announcing that he wanted to confess something important related to his behavior during the entire competition. Ryan admitted before everyone that he did not want to become king, and that he intentionally lost the competition to completely avoid the heavy responsibility. The audience was shocked by his sudden confession, while Liana looked at him in disbelief, trying to understand why he made such a strange decision. Ryan explained that he was not ready to bear the burdens of ruling, and that he feared the great responsibility of managing the entire kingdom. He also admitted that he knew his sister was more committed, so he believed she would be the better choice to take the throne instead of him. Liana felt angry at his behavior, considering that his laziness had crossed limits, and that he had not taken the competition or the family seriously at all. She confronted him, saying he should have been honest from the beginning instead of deceiving everyone and behaving in a completely irresponsible way. The king nodded slowly, admitting that Ryan's behavior was wrong, but he appreciated his honesty in the end after his confession before everyone. The king said he should have punished him for lying and ruining the competition, but he decided to give him a chance to learn instead. He set a condition that Ryan must find a real purpose in his life and serve the kingdom through his passion instead of escaping responsibilities. Ryan promised that he would do so, confirming that he would strive to discover what he truly wanted and work hard to achieve it in the future. Ryan sincerely apologized to his father and sister, admitting his mistakes and expressing deep regret for his behavior during the past period. Liana looked at him calmly, then announced that she forgave him as the new ruler who would lead the kingdom toward a better future. The audience felt relieved after the tension ended, and they began celebrating the coronation of Liana as the official queen of the Kingdom of Mabel. Liana was crowned in a grand formal ceremony, where the crown was placed on her head amid loud applause from everyone present. Liana stood confidently, pledging to serve her people with dedication and effort, relying on her experience and discipline proven during the competition. Her reign began with many reforms as she organized the kingdom's affairs and improved the management of taxes, food, and the reception of guests. As for Ryan, he began a new journey to discover his true passion away from the pressures of ruling and the heavy responsibilities of the throne. He remembered his previous interest in lizards and decided to study this field seriously, using his magical abilities in beneficial ways. He began learning about the behavior of lizards and their environments, using magic to support research and develop a deeper understanding of this unique world. Over time, he became more disciplined, as he realized that success requires real effort and not just reliance on talent alone. He established projects aimed at protecting lizards and creating special communities for them within the kingdom, which significantly benefited the environment. He used his magic to develop these communities, allowing him to contribute to improving the natural balance within the Kingdom of Mabel overall. People began to notice his change as he transformed from a lazy person into a productive individual, striving to achieve a clear goal in his life. He realized that his previous laziness was not due to inability, but due to a lack of direction and purpose that motivates him to work hard. He became an example of change, learning that every person needs a purpose to properly utilize their abilities. Meanwhile, Liana continued her rule, making wise decisions that strengthened the kingdom's stability and continuous prosperity. She managed the affairs of ruling with precision, benefiting from her organized personality and her ability to focus on important details. She worked to improve the lives of the people, which increased their love for her and their trust in her ability to lead the kingdom forward. The kingdom of Mabel flourished under her rule, where justice and order spread, and everyone lived in a stable and prosperous environment. She maintained a balance between firmness and compassion, making her a fair ruler who respects her people and understands their needs. Cooperation between her and Ryan continued, as each supported the other in their field, strengthening the kingdom and its continuous development. Ryan learned the value of work, while Lyanna realized the importance of understanding, which helped them improve their relationship as siblings over time. They became an example to follow in cooperation, combining wise leadership and scientific innovation to serve the kingdom of Mabel. Everyone realized that success does not depend only on strength, but on effort, discipline, and discovering one's true purpose in life. Ryan's story transformed from failure to success, while Lyanna became a symbol of hard work and responsibility in the eyes of her people. The kingdom continued to progress as everyone worked together to build a better future, benefiting from the important lessons of the past. People realized that every individual can change if they find their purpose, and that failure is not the end, but a new beginning. This story became an example told to generations, teaching them the importance of hard work and never giving into laziness or fear. Everyone in the kingdom of Mabel lived happily, enjoying a stable life under wise leadership and continuous cooperation among the people. And so the story ended, as both Ryan and Lyanna found their true paths, and the kingdom flourished through their shared efforts.